Hi everyone, Simon here from Chester Romans. I'm here, joined today by the UK Dukes. So we've got Phoebe and Kenny. Hi guys.
Evening.
Hi.
How are you? Okay.
Thank you.
Good. So we've got the Dukes on to talk a little bit about the work that they've done with the Romans, and also to find out a little bit more about them. So probably great to kick off. Really, just tell us a little bit for anybody who doesn't know about you guys and what you do.
Cool. I guess I'll jump in. The UK Duty is something we created. Well, I created back in late 2016, early 2017. It was initially created as a way to help kind of children and young people, anyone playing American football really, who didn't know kind of what to do outside of structured training settings. So it started off as kind of trick shot videos, one-handed catches, that kind of stuff. It's just all fun stuff. And now we've built to a place where, you know, we kind of joke about it. We say it's a one-stop shop for everything American football. We have clinics that we run, coaching clinics. We have a schools program. We have an online store with EP Sports. And we are working on some cool upcoming projects as well. So there's anything to do with American football, we'll be there somewhere.
Great stuff. You kind of the woven into the Brit ball culture as well, I think, aren't you?
Yeah, just digging deeper, trying to get really right in there.
I love it. So how did you guys become linked with the Romans quite recently?
So that was something that G had reached out to us, and actually I probably 5 years ago or so had come down to a girls' kind of rookie day, and we've had ties with the Romans for quite some time. And then last year we ended up going to like university basically and doing a session with them. And obviously Levi was there, and he had mentioned to us at the time, you know, why don't you come down when we get Roman started up? And it was something that we kind of had in the pipeline for some time. And, you know, even just kind of following the Romans and what you guys have been doing for, you know, how you've really, I'd say, built over the past couple of years. You know, it's a massive difference, and you guys have done a lot. And it's something that we really want to celebrate those people that are kind of doing things the right way and really trying to, you know, create solid foundations. And that's really what you guys were trying to and are achieving. And we were really excited to be a part of it and come down and just see what, you know, the coaches are about, see the players, and obviously see everyone's passion for the game, because that's what fuels us at the end of the day.
Amazing. And I guess you guys spent 2 days with the Romans back in March. How did you find the camp that was over the 2 days in Chester?
It was really good. I don't know. We didn't. So personally, like we did the university day. I think Uniball sometimes has a propensity to be more or better organized than senior ball does in some settings. So I wasn't sure what we were kind of coming to find with the Romans, but I know we're completely blown away. Really impressed with how professional everything was. There was the thing that genuinely blew me away the most was the Sunday morning it was, where you had the youth and juniors training and practicing at the same time, and that was amazing to see. The organization and just the number of bodies that was around on the day was huge.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I mean, the organizational level, Kenny was with offense and I was with defense. So, you know, even leading up to it, getting the schedules, seeing teams that have schedules. I know it sounds like a small thing, but actually it makes a huge difference to how a day runs. The fact that the guys were there early doing yoga, so you really got this buy-in from everyone that wants to be involved with it. And then, you know, obviously for me, I'm like seeing girls out there playing with the youth and junior, and that was cool. And then also having one of the females coming and kind of shadowing and coaching as well was a really nice top. You're kind of hitting everything that you want in a team, and you guys are just kind of doing it naturally.
Yeah. And then to top it off, everyone's like really welcoming, really eager to listen and learn and then share ideas. It was cool. It was really cool.
Yeah, I think that's something that especially, you know, the coaching staff have tried to really develop over the last, I'd say the last year in particular, is to make it a lot more inclusive. It is the type of sport where you kind of, when you're new coming in, it's quite daunting to kind of come in and come through those doors. So I think that's really great to hear. I guess what was most exciting about the Romans for you? Was there a particular standout player or anything that really caught your eye on the day that impressed you individually?
So I ended up being, I'll steal it. I ended up being with DBs predominantly for the day, and just to, you know, see how they went from some of them who had really never played or maybe only been out there once or twice, to see how a little bit of, you know, coaching and understanding, their eagerness to kind of be around you and listen to what you had to say so that they could become better players. That was really cool, because by the end of the weekend, to see them, you know, putting into action in these scrimmages was awesome, you know, and to see their confidence build. For me, that's the biggest thing, because if you can play confidently, you play quickly, you play aggressively, and those all go hand in hand for me.
Yeah, kind of working with the receivers and the QBs. I think it was great to see people who weren't necessarily. I think the nature of British football, from time to time, you find yourself perhaps pushed into positions you might not have thought, you know, ready for or so. And you forgive me, I don't remember names, which is really bad on my part. Apologies. But the guy that was pushing the receivers had, I think in football years, he was very young. I'll phrase it that way. And you know, he was the things he was trying to the research he was doing by himself, and then trying to teach everyone else. But they were on a mutual growth journey, and you know, I think that's amazing, because I think where I'll always keep coming back to learning together and growing together. It's you know, a really symbiotic and nice journey to be on. So that was, you know, and it was nice to have a full set of receivers.
Always helps.
Yeah,
I think you know, the feedback from the guys after the sessions with you both was really positive. I think the level of sort of experience and knowledge that you guys bring just brought another level to camp. And after sort of 2 full days, you know, full on, I think that was really good to get that out of the guys, because we all know those sort of 2 day camps can be quite grueling and a bit of a challenge. I guess this is probably a question that you get asked probably quite a lot, but in terms of specifically, what would you say about somebody wanting to get into Britball or wanting to get into joining the Romans?
Absolutely. I mean, just go for it. I know sometimes there's a fear factor associated with it, but to be honest, we are all still learning together. We're all still, you know, there's no expert out of all of us in terms of knowing the sport, and it's a sport that you're constantly learning and growing in. So get involved, because the family atmosphere, and I mean, there were multiple examples from that day that really stood out to me on how much and how invested you guys are in each other, and just being a part of that. And lastly, the confidence and the empowerment that it makes you feel. You know, I don't care what your background is. There are very few sports like American football that really, you know, every person has a role and makes you feel like excited about it as American football.
and then kind of like specifically with the Romans and especially the camp that you guys had on, there's so many. Sometimes it's the little things you don't realize, you know. So we, you know, I hadn't met a bunch of those people before, you know. I can't speak for Phoebe, but it was so welcoming, and any time where you can get so many different people from so many walks of life, you know, you don't know what, you know, people are coming from different places, different backgrounds, and then you can be really comfortable in there and able to be yourself. You don't feel like you have to conform to any kind of, I don't know, like, you don't feel bullied into being something that you're not, in essence. I was going to use some words that I will leave.
Trying to be diplomatic.
Exactly, you know. So the fact that we were able to be there and just be ourselves and be dead comfortable, and that wasn't just the case for us, but seemed to be the case for everyone coming in, is huge. The fact that, and I say little things, that you could get food in the little clubhouse, and it was where everyone was and everyone was together, and it's just nice chat and you're getting to know people, and I think it's amazing. And I think personally somewhere where I'd be happy to go. I'd be happy to send the kids that I teach or work with, or my own children, when they're old enough to do it. Or child, I should say. I don't have children. Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing.
Oh, that's really good to hear. So 2020 has kind of been the year that never was for football in general in the UK. What do you think is the biggest challenge facing Britball for the sort of the remainder of 2020 and as we head into the future?
Go ahead. You take.
No.
I would say retention, making sure that you're giving players, or even some teams, they only really started recruiting right before all of this happened. So you might have gotten some really great people on board, some great athletes, but thinking about how do we keep these people interested? How do we take advantage of this opportunity of time to build up football IQ? Those are going to be really key elements. And how can we be creative in, whether it's through drills or any sort of on-field work to create competition and also to help our players get better in whatever position group that they're in. All you can.
So, gonna come a bit from left field, and I think as a community people need to be patient in a return. I think everyone's looking for a date when it's like, right, all the harnesses are off, go. And I think the return to sport, especially contact sport like ours, will kind of be a bit slower. So I think in terms of even managing bodies of the athletes on the teams and how people return to activity at pace, being explosive, and so on and so forth. It's important to have a level of patience with it all, and I hope people aren't in too much of a hurry to get in again.
I think there's a large portion, isn't it? Yeah, there's a large portion of people wanting to getting back stuck in, but as you say, it's going to be baby steps, isn't it?
Yeah, the girls and guys wanting to get back because they want to hit people. I don't understand that, but I'm like, I can still want to catch footballs. That's fine. I don't need.
Amazing. So talk to us about the Dukes. What have you guys been up to during lockdown? Because I know a lot of what you do is all around community within Britball, and the community's not able to meet and not able to get together. So what have you guys been up to?
I've been driving Phoebe crazy with ideas about this and that and everything else. We've got so many things, and Phoebe's that same bit of caution I just gave about the return to Phoebe's like, Ken, be patient, calm down, and we've got to slow it down and rein it in. But
I'm the get back coach. That's what I am. I said I'm the get back coach.
Exactly that. But we've got some kind of ideas, projects that we're looking into. I don't know. I don't want to give away like top secret stuff. This is some of the stuff. But we're looking basically at how essentially will it be possible with BAFA having cancelled the season? Would it be possible to maybe host some tournaments, run some tournaments? How would that look like? Is it possible? Is it feasible? Or is it just a case of shut it all down till 2021 and then see the lay of the land? We've got ideas in terms of running what we'll likely be calling Dukes clubs, which will be kind of working with teams in different areas and localities and setting up kind of old school youth clubs, like where kids can kind of come after school or on a weekend, and not necessarily football only, but definitely football centered, and just a space for people to be in a proactive manner, So yeah. Second, sorry.
We've got our kids book.
Yes. Phoebe had the idea to write a children's book, kind of focusing specifically on young girls in sport, which we kind of developed into, well, why not just, have a book that's about, a girl, but kind of also teaches about flag football in general. And what started as a kind of a bit of a throw idea is now we're fundraising to self-publish the book. It's almost finished in terms of the book's written. The graphic designs are coming along, and the more they come in, the more exciting it will get. We're having the book translated into 7 different languages because there's a bunch of different countries that are in the same at the same growth phase as we are in the UK. So Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese, to name some of them. And it will be fun. Hopefully it's good. I hope it's not one of those that comes out and people are like, what is this?
And in terms of, you mentioned around sort of donating there, is there a link that people can go to support you?
Yeah, there's a GoFundMe page across all our platforms. If you go to GoFundMe and search the Jukes, you should be able to see it. But if not, it's on our Instagram. The links is always like gf.me/u/ it's complicated, so I'm not gonna.
Yeah, no worries. I'll put a link in this below this video anyway. So what's the plans for the rest of 2020 then?
Well, I've run off to the States, so I'm here for the next 2 months basically, and still kind of working flag football, like learning more about the sport, learning about how we can bring some of this back to the UK, whether that's through styles of play, through officiating, and then, Ken kind of alluded to it earlier, looking into what can we offer contact teams. So yes, flag as well, naturally, but contact too, because we need to make sure that they're not being neglected in terms of tournaments, because we know that obviously BAF is not able to run their leagues, but there's definitely lots of opportunities to get out and play. So let's see what we can make happen with that. And lastly, kind of figuring out, yes, we're in a new age essentially where we're not able to see each other, but how can we continue with our own perspective hats in terms of BAFA and BAFCA with flag, women's, diversity, all that kind of remit? How can we find ways to keep people engaged, educate, and maybe some of it comes down to, doing online training to qualify people. And, then when we get into a time where we can actually go into schools, that's when we can actually do the physical or practical element of it. But it doesn't mean there's no reason we can't be running things like that in the meantime, just to, keep as much football around as possible. That's our aim.
I think it's important I think your outlook, or the general outlook on this year, as absolutely crazy as it has been, I think if you can change it from a negative to a positive and look at the opportunities it creates, then I think a lot of good can still come out of it. So, I mean, we've done everything. We've looked at e-gaming we have a Jukes e-games team. I have no idea about Xbox and PlayStation, all that stuff, but we've got people looking into that. And so I think it's about continually seeking where are the opportunities, where can we make something out of not a great situation in many cases, and see how we can grow football, as Phoebe said.
Great. And how can people find out more about the Jukes if they're interested in hearing a bit more about you guys?
Follow us on all the social media: LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. But probably the best place is our website, www.theukjukes.com. I say that because I just spent the last 3 weeks tidying it up. So go and have a look and let us know what you think. But yeah, we want to get back to posting some good old-fashioned videos as well. So we haven't done a catch video in a while.
I was going to say, you guys are normally quite up there with your competitions and your catch videos. So yeah, I think that's been missed.
We'll get back to it.
Amazing, guys. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. And look forward to speaking with you soon.
Appreciate it, Simon. Thank you.
So much for having us.
Cheers, Phoebe. Cheers, Kate. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.